Welcome to the Fire Sprinkler Podcast with Chris and Logan. To help reduce pipe corrosion, the 2016 edition of NFPA 13 added a requirement that all wet sprinkler systems include an air vent. Developed with input from contractors, the AGF patented Purge and Vent automatic air venting valves are the most compact and simple to install while offering the widest variety of installation options. The conical design prevents water discharge, eliminating the need for redundancy or drip pans. The 7900V includes an integrated isolation valve, barrel strainer, and purge valve with cap and garden hose thread, eliminating extra connections and potential leak points. The purge valve provides easy access and strainer flushing capabilities to simplify service in the field. Additionally, the extra purge valve allows for venting large amounts of air from the system and expedites the filling and draining process. It can also act as a vacuum brake to help protect roof couplings in the system. Model 7930 ECA comes pre-assembled with an end cap for quick installation at the end of system branch lines. The 7950 ILV includes an inline separation chamber and can be installed in several locations, including immediately downstream of the floor control assembly. For additional information about AGF's products, or to find a distributor in your area, please visit agfmanufacturing.com. That's agfmanufacturing.com. Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Fire Sprinkler Podcast. On this episode, I speak with Pearce from Lubrizol. He's going to talk about a new product that Lubrizol has coming out here very soon, if not today. October 1st is the release date actually, so it's available now. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, subscribing, sharing my stuff on social media. The growth that this thing has had is overwhelming. So thanks everybody. Thanks to all my sponsors, past, present, and future sponsors. If you're looking to sponsor or help out the Fire Sprinkler Podcast, fire me off an email, chris@firesprinklerpodcast.com. Even something as little as sharing my social media thing just to get my name out there a little bit more. Very much appreciated. Again, thanks everybody for the support. I'm not going to go on to a big ramble today. I just want to get right into the conversation with Pearce. So without further ado, here is the conversation with Pearce from Lubrizol. Sean, how's it going tonight? You're with Lubrizol now, but before we get into kind of the topic at hand, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you're from, and what you've been doing in the sprinkler industry for your career?
Yeah, thanks, Chris. I spent the majority of my fire suppression career in the fire service, North York. Started in North York, and then amalgamation took me to Toronto. Was on the back of a truck for a number of years, and ended up as the fire chief's executive officer as part of the management team of Toronto Fire Services. I had the good fortune to work on the change in the building code for high-rise sprinklers while I was there, and really fell in love with the concept of automatic fire suppression for life safety. From that point, I went on and joined CASA, was able to work with the Fire Marshal's Office on retrofit of care, helped with compulsory certification in the trade with Local 853, and a number of other initiatives, but really pushed for residential sprinklers in various places across the country. And after compulsory certification, I started out with a couple contractors, and then I went out as a consultant on my own. I got back into retrofitted care with the province of Ontario. I oversaw the funding project for the Ministry of Seniors Affairs, funding, helping small retirement homes retrofit with sprinklers before the deadline last January. We started to consult for Lubrizol, was consulting for Brookfield Residential out in Alberta, where we're sprinklering 15,000 residential units as part of North America's first greenfield up, fully sprinklered community. Every square foot will be sprinklered. So that's, when you talk about leaving a footprint behind in fire safety, I think that's my biggest footprint, is that community out there in conjunction with Brookfield Residential. And about a month ago, I joined Lubrizol full time, and they've given me a chance to be myself and promote and pursue my passion of fire safety while working with them and advancing fire protection as a larger target market for Lubrizol. That the primary the primary material everybody knows Lubrizol for is Blazemaster, but there's a move afoot to expand the fire protection offering from Lubrizol right now.
Okay, so hold on a second. You fired off. Again, we're located. Me and you are both are in Ontario, Canada. So you're
Right.
up from the Toronto area. I'm from southwestern Ontario.
Right.
You hammered your what you helped with on 3 major sprinkler kind of thresholds in Ontario. The high rise mandatory sprinkler and high rise in Ontario. What year was that in? I believe it was put into the 2012 edition of the building code, which is still used today, which is the one that's referenced today.
Yeah, no, I think it was April 1st, 2010 that became law.
So 2010 compulsory certification, which takes sprinkler from being a voluntary trade, meaning you don't have to be licensed to install sprinkler, to being a compulsory certification, which means you have to be a 427A sprinkler fitter, which I am, to install sprinkler, service sprinkler, and spec sprinkler in Ontario.
Exactly.
That was 2014 or 15. No, sorry, it wasn't even that long ago. It was 2017.
Yeah. So a lot of these things passed, readings and got assent, but then had a later date of being active, right? So I'm trying to think back on the dates.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was 2015 that compulsory became law.
And then the long-term care, which was a major one here in Ontario, which was the requirement that all long-term care assisted living facilities in Ontario be retrofitted with sprinkler, meaning group homes, retirement homes, anything in that manner where people required essentially more than 2 levels of service required sprinkler to be installed. That was huge for the industry and for the public as well, as far as fire protection.
Absolutely, and that so that became it became mandatory Jan 1 of 2019, but there was a 5-year lead up to that.
Yes,
and the fire marshal's office, in conjunction with stakeholders from the care industry and the sprinkler side, we looked at various ways to make that affordable. So there were allowances made in the fire code that would not normally be allowed for retrofit only, and then the government of the day came up with a $20 million funding project to help small rural retirement homes meet the deadline of Jan 1, 2019 by setting aside money to help sprinkler those homes. So I had the good fortune of not only being involved on the front end, but also being involved on the funding side as well to try and help these smaller rural retirement homes get their sprinklers installed and their occupants protected.
So part of that retrofit of the long-term care facilities is one of the facilities that we actually retrofitted. We finished doing the installation, commissioned it, tested it, everything was signed off. 2 months later, we got a call from the building owner saying he called us and he was pissed. Excuse the language, but he was pissed. You got water pouring out of one of your mechanical rooms here. You were running your mouth about a 1 in 16 million chance of these sprinklers accidentally going off. And guess what, buddy? I'm 1 in 16 million. You better get here and fix this ASAP. I got, the fire department's on its way. Blah blah blah. It was Friday afternoon. All my guys are gone home for the afternoon. I called my brother, who's also a 427A sprinkler fitter. Called him, sent him over to the facility. He met the fire department at the door. Shook his hand, might as well have hugged him and picked him up in a bear hug. The hot water tank in a small mechanical closet at the back of the building had caught fire. Fire was going up the wall because it was a mechanical room. It had a sprinkler in it. The sprinkler put the fire out before the fire department got there. And
the occupants weren't even aware they had a fire. Imagine that.
The maintenance staff was mad that there was water pouring out of this mechanical room, because the fire was so contained and so small that he didn't even realize that he had a fire. Didn't make the newspaper, and it's a small town. It's my hometown. It's a very small town, 7,000 people. Didn't even make the newspaper because there was no fatalities, no major damage. And the thing about this, it was a 110 bed facility, wood construction, all open attic space, but it was contained by a single sprinkler and a mechanical room.
Yeah, so that's the story, Chris. That's exactly why I do what I do. That's the story. And unfortunately, the media, because everything went flawlessly, the media just doesn't catch wind of it. And it's unfortunate, but it is also fortunate because they didn't relocate any occupants. They didn't have anyone injured.
That's right.
They're up and running and with very little disturbance to their operation. So
the biggest issue was about 20 tenants in this wing didn't have hot water for 3 days. For the long weekend, they didn't have hot water, and that was the biggest hiccup. Now,
yeah, well, what's interesting about that? That wasn't the sprinkler head's fault.
No, that's right. Absolutely, It wasn't. But that was that was the major concern with the long weekend, is that they could not take a shower in their rooms. They had to go down to the public bathroom, and it wasn't easy for them to do that. So it was a big deal. But I mean, they all slept in their beds that night. There was a little bit of a mop up and a cleanup, but that was it. 13 gallons a minute. Boom, done.
Yeah, best system available to save lives from fires.
Yep, that's right. And I mean, I'll again take this other opportunity. I think I've mentioned this in every one of the 29 podcasts I've done. Is it really is up to us as sprinkler fitters, engineers, designers, to spread that word. If you get a sprinkler safe, put it on social media, because it's not going to get picked up, because there's not the doom and gloom that the regular media likes. If you get a sprinkler safe, post it on Facebook, post it on Twitter, post it on Instagram, post it anywhere, do a Snapchat of it, do whatever you want, but just, hashtag sprinkler saves, also hashtag fire sprinkler podcast, because why not? And
absolutely,
just share the crap out of it, because these are the things that people don't know about, that they need to understand how these products work and how effective they actually are at protecting property and life.
Absolutely.
All right, so fully sprinkled. We've got 3 out of 4 things that stuck out to me on your resume. We haven't even talked about your product yet. This Brookfield residence. Let's touch on this just a little bit. How large is this community that's going to be 100% sprinklered? Now, when you say 100% sprinklered, is it 100% sprinklered in facilities that require sprinkler already, or are you talking convenience stores, things like that?
Everything. Every square foot of this community will be sprinklered, regardless of code requirements. So Brookfield took it upon themselves to do this. It was a voluntary effort. We went through a process with the municipality to look at how we could do this the most cost effectively. We ended up with Blazemaster fire sprinkler systems installed in a passive purge manner using non-testable backflows. We've gone through the first batch. We have an alternative solution in place for that right now for the non-testable backflows, but we've gone through the first batch of approvals at CSA to change the pipe wall thickness to 13.5 for cold water for CPVC, so that we can do passive purge with the non-testable backflow as per the National Plumbing Code, and it's not an issue with toxicity. It's purely an issue in CSA with pipe wall thickness. So they're being installed like that in Alberta right now. They're averaging, we're somewhere around $3,500 a home.
Wow.
It's fantastic. The municipality jumped on board. They've got 1-inch incoming. They've switched their meters to 1-inch meters to reduce hydraulic loss. There's about 7 builders active in this community right now. I think we're probably close to 2,000 homes built out of 15,000 residential units in total over the 7 years of the community building out.
Wow, this is awesome. And what kind of studies? I'm assuming they're going to be doing studies out the wahoo on this. As far as the annual fire loss, probably going to try to compare it to such communities as Vancouver Island and Scottsdale, Arizona as well. I'm going to assume that's the long-term plan for this, right?
Yeah, I think people will do that. Brookfield had a vision for this community. They wanted to try and do something different. They took not all builders are on side with sprinklers. I think this community has opened the builders engaged in it. It's opened their eyes and their minds to what sprinklers can offer. They're being marketed as safer homes with sprinklers by some of the builders. There's a real movement there around builders understanding what's really involved. And unfortunately, there's been a long history of builders and fire protection groups surrounding sprinklers not communicating well and having some pretty big arguments around this topic. And the goal here was to avoid all of that, was to find a way to sprinkler affordably, to turn it into a marketing advantage. We did a side-by-side burn in the community in conjunction with the fire service and the builders to try and educate the home buyers about what they were getting in this community. So aside from the fact that, we believe that no one will perish as a result of an accidental fire in this community, we also think that it's a massive step forward in the relationship building between the fire protection industry and home builders.
Yeah, right. Hoping that all of these home builders that are building this community take the knowledge that they've learned and bring it to the other facilities and other municipalities that they're building in.
That would be the ultimate goal, and none of that's going to happen overnight. And it has to be something that's cost neutral, right? Like builders they're entitled to make their margins, just like you are as a contractor. Just like, I was as a consultant. Everybody's entitled to their margins. It's how we survive. It's how we put our kids through school. It's how we pay for everything we buy. So to continually add cost to a home, it gets transferred to home buyers, and the position that the home buyers can only afford so much is accurate. So, if a home costs, more than what it should in a market that'll bear a price, then that money's coming out of a builder's pocket. So we have to be creative. We have to find ways of doing this where everybody's status quo, but we're providing extra safety.
That's right. Yeah. And that's part of it's always been the sales pitch of, do you want laminate floors, or do you want hardwood floors, or do you want a sprinkler system?
Yeah.
Part of the update there. Okay. We've been going, we went off on a tangent, as these podcasts tend to do. Let's get back on the topic of hand. You're with Lubrizol. Lubrizol has got some new stuff coming out here soon in the market of freeze protection. Why don't you kind of do an introduction to what Lubrizol is going to be coming out with here soon?
Yeah, so today, October 1st, 2019, we're really pleased to announce that Lubrizol, for the first time, is going to branch out from BlazeMaster as its only fire protection, based product to include FreezeMaster. It's you can see how the names line up there.
I do.
Yeah. And FreezeMaster, in its first iteration, will be a product that will work in temperatures as low as minus 17 degrees Fahrenheit, minus 27 degrees Celsius, making it the lowest temperature of any antifreeze, meeting NFPA's both approved requirements and listed products on the market today. So we're currently finishing up our testing with UL and working towards achieving our listing, but we've done things very different than anything else that's on the market. The first point is that we're gonna offer better freeze protection than anybody has so far. We're going to be able to have unlimited system volumes and light hazard NFPA 13 attics. We're going to have up to 300 gallons for other light hazard applications. The product it's colored, so it's going to make it easier for contractors when they're draining and filling systems, whether refilling or filling a new system. You've done your 200-pound test. You've got to evacuate that water before putting the antifreeze in. So, having the dye in the antifreeze made it more difficult to get through testing. But the one thing it has done is it's going to make it easier for our contractors in the field when they're using it.
What kind of challenges did you get just as far as adding dye to the product? What were the issues with adding the dye?
Well, the test that any product goes through at UL in order to be considered listed, and again, we're finishing up that, so we're not there yet, but we're close. Every time you add a component, it makes it more difficult to pass, and so adding dye made it more difficult to pass. We've added a number of corrosion resistant mediation materials to it. That made it more difficult, makes it more difficult to pass. And that's another thing that this product's going to do, is going to offer better corrosion mitigation than any other antifreeze product available today. So we looked at it not just from we're gonna try and make a product that's going to be eventually or in the near future listed. We wanted to make a product that was going to do more than that. We wanted to make a product that was going to make it easier for contractors. We wanted to develop a product that was going to take away some of the 40-gallon limits in certain occupancies. We wanted to have a product that was going to offer better corrosion resistance, because when you're dealing with like glycerin or glycerin glycol mixtures, the glycerin causes mic buildup faster than you'd like, and in turn causes corrosion. So we want it to be on the cutting edge of all of that mitigation, and FreezeMaster's done that. FreezeMaster is going to be the one of the most reliable and dependable antifreezes in the market. We're hoping that we're going to have delivery mid to end of December, early January on the product, and I think anybody that's looking at antifreeze replacement in the near future, to the concept of this coming to market, it's about it's in the very near future. It's going to hit the streets. This is a big option. It's a differentiator, I think.
It is to have something that goes. Currently, there's other products of one other product available that's minus 13, minus 17 takes it to the next step. How long until you guys are going to go even lower than that? Do you have plans to go lower than that? And why don't you talk about what's next after that?
Yeah, you know what? So Lubrizol is a chemical company. This type of development is what we're best at. So everybody can rest assured that we won't stop here. This is going to get. We're going to continue to develop additional products in the antifreeze and the FreezeMaster line, and we're going to look at potentially other products in the near future. But we're going to take it to the next level, and the dilemma always is trying to get through all the various testing that's required in order to be considered the product for use in North America and anywhere else where UL is the applicable standard. Testing takes time, and it's generally you never pass the first time. You've always got to go back and forth several times in order to get there. So I'm not sure exactly of a date for when we're gonna bring our second product to market, but it won't be that long before we do.
Right. It's always about evolution and creating new products and trying to be the most innovative product out there. I think every manufacturer's goal is to be the most innovative and the best out there. Lubrizol being one of them. The BlazeMaster product is essentially, it doesn't matter what product anybody's using, they've become the CPVC name, the Kleenex of CPVC for fire protection.
Yeah, we're very fortunate. Lubrizol's invested a lot of money in its compatibility program, and that's one of the things that helps to stand out. And it's all of that innovation that's gone into FreezeMaster as well, and its development and getting it to where it is right now. But our compatibility program, and again, FreezeMaster's in the compatibility program, so we're testing with various other materials to make sure that we're going to be compatible with things like galvanized piping. Eventually, that's part of our goal, is to be compatible with galvanized, and those are time tests and they're ongoing right now. But the compatibility program sets BlazeMaster aside from any other CPVC fire protection pipe. We have the composition of our pipe is different from any other CPVC fire protection pipe, but it's also the compatibility program. We invest a lot of money, and anybody who's got an ancillary product invests a lot of money in being on our compatibility list. so that contractors can have 100% comfort that if the product's on our list as compatible, they're never going to have to worry about having some kind of pipe failure as a result of compatibility. And that unfortunately in the not so distant past, down in the Dallas area, there was a failure due to compatibility, and it raised a lot of eyebrows around CPVC. But compatibility exists in construction on all levels. CPVC has its compatibility issues without a doubt, but if you're using BlazeMaster and you're using the compatibility program, which you can even download as an app on your phone to check compatibility in the field, you never have to think twice about whether a product's compatible with BlazeMaster or not. And that's where the bar is set with BlazeMaster. And I think the whole industry should be investing. Anybody who's producing CPVC for fire protection, or really for any other use, should be seriously considering an in-depth compatibility program like Lubrizol's.
You mentioned the app, the FBC system compatible app.
Yeah.
I've used that, and it's bailed me out. I mean, when I was a fitter on tools, it bailed me out. Now that I'm doing more design and project management, it's bailed me out. The big one that I remember is I was installing a residential 13D system. We had installed all the piping, and we had came back after the fact and noticed that somebody had applied Vaseline to the piping.
Wow.
The reason they did this is because they were spraying spray foam. They knew that there was an issue with the spray foam touching the piping, and they wanted to, lube it up with Vaseline
to try and protect it.
To protect it, right? So, pop open the app. Is it compatible? Not listed. Okay, sign here. Okay, perfect. I'm gonna rip this system out and replace it.
Yeah.
Little things like that. Had they called, picked up the phone and asked, like, what's the best way to protect this pipe? Don't touch it. Don't touch it with that product. Don't touch it at all, but don't touch it with certain things, right? I know back in the, back 10, the product's been out for years, decades now. When did BlazeMaster originate? Do you know that offhand?
Yeah, I don't know the exact date. 1980s, 30 years ago, though. It's been in service. There's millions of feet of BlazeMaster installed around the world over the last 30 years. Actually, interesting that we did a reno at the offices in Ohio, and pulled out some 30-year-old BlazeMaster and ran it through the pressure test, and couldn't get the pipe to fail until 1600 psi, and that's after 30. Yeah, that's after 30 years being under pressure in a sprinkler system. The pipe was cut apart to check for mick growth. There's a tiny little bit of green dust on the inside of the pipe after 30 years of water sitting in it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like nothing, no occlusion, no change to the pipe dimension, nothing. So the C in CPVC, the added chlorine molecule, it really works on the mix side, and there's no, you don't have to add anything. You don't have to add nitrogen. It eliminates the need for the 5-year internals when you're using CPVC sprinkler systems. There's a lot of benefits, and but now people are nervous about it, and I get that, and there's a place for all products in the market, but if you can use BlazeMaster CPVC, I think it's a huge advantage. Even on design, where you get to keep your Hayes & Williams of 150 versus 100 on steel, so you can sometimes you can downsize your pipe dimensioning when you're using BlazeMaster over like steel products.
Yeah, absolutely. Essentially, we're starting a condo, 6th-floor condo. It's nothing like you guys have up in the big city of Toronto, but it's a high rise around here, and we use CPVC on all the main, with the exception of the express main. We use steel piping, and then we branch off into CPVC for all of the different levels. The 1st to 2nd or to 6th floor is going to be all CPVC piping.
That's awesome. That's excellent. Yeah, that's one, and ultimately that's the goal, right? And I mean, one of the things is even going vertical, which most people don't do with CPVC, and it was partially because for the longest time, 3-inch CPVC was more than steel. Right. But given the tariff market we're in right now, CPVC may actually be a cheaper model in some cases. So if people are wondering about going vertical, you absolutely can. You follow the listing document for installing it, but right now it may CPVC 3-inch CPVC vertically may be cheaper than steel.
Right. Yeah, that's actually something to think about actually before I order all the material for this condo. So what's next for Lubrizol in the fire protection aside from Freeze Master, which is obviously being released today, which is obviously October 1st.
Yeah.
What else do you guys have coming up? Are you going to give me any other updates aside from Freeze Master? What else are you guys working on?
No, you know what? There's lots of stuff in the pipeline right now, and I can't. Like any big company, we can't really talk about anything that we're thinking about. But take Freeze Master as an example of where Lubrizol wants to move the bar in fire protection. So
Right.
when you think about what this is going to do that no other product can do, no limitations on gallonage for 13D, 13R dwelling use only, no limitations. 13R mixed use, it'll be up to 40 gallons. NFPA 13 light hazard will be, and ordinary hazard will still be up to 40 gallons. Storage is up to 40 gallons. Attics in mixed use and light hazard, unlimited in size for existing and new systems. All mixed use light hazard systems, unlimited in size for existing, and 300 gallon maximum for new systems. No one else has that. So
Right.
there's extensive testing that's gone into that. And when you think about like what it takes to get these tests done, I think people can be rest assured that the future for fire protection with Lubrizol is pretty bright. It's this was the first go around at doing something different, and we didn't just change something or make something a little bit different. I think we hit something out of the park.
So I meant to ask you earlier, and it kind of slipped my mind there. One of the tangents we went off. How long have you guys been developing this product for? Because this was one, for the most part, I'm fairly connected with the industry. I hear rumors. I don't spread rumors, but I hear rumors about what people are doing. This one blindsided me.
Yeah, you know what? It's hard to say. Again, I've been with them for a month, but in order to do all of this is years in the making,
right,
to make this happen. And I think that anything worth doing right takes time, especially when we're talking about life safety. And my understanding is that this was several years in the making to get us to this point.
Several years in the making to get us to this point, and I had no idea. That's frustrating for me. I think I got my finger on the pulse, and then something like this just sneaks out of nowhere. And hey, do you want to talk about a new product we have coming out? Sure. New product.
Yeah, and it's the goal. The goal really by coming out now. We haven't achieved our final placement in the market, and we know that. But the goal is for people to understand that this is coming, and it's not far away. And if you're out there looking for antifreeze, know that by early next year for sure, this product will be available, and it'll give you some options. And I think when you're dealing with your clients as contractors, having options is great. Giving them the peace of mind that they don't have to worry about having product in their system that isn't listed, or in some cases I've heard of contractors having operators, building owners and operators sign waivers that they know that the product in their antifreeze system is dangerous, and they're taking responsibility for it. All of that really pushed us to try and do something better, and that's what Freeze Master is. I think it's a better solution to everything that's happening right now in the antifreeze market for fire protection.
I've said it once, and I'll continue saying it for years, and I'm sure everybody here is going to know exactly what I'm going to say. You're either going to evolve with the industry, or the industry is going to evolve without you.
Yeah.
So this is just another situation where a manufacturer is taking a problem and possibly a solution that another contractor or another manufacturer has, and it's just improving on it, making it better, and constantly pushing. This is a crazy time in fire protection, which is the reason I created this podcast to get more discussion in how fast this industry is evolving. The past 5 years, I'm fairly young. I'm 31 years old. I've been involved in this industry essentially since I was a kid. Slave labor, child labor is not a thing when you're in a family business.
Yeah.
The amount of time that I've been actually invested into the company and into the business is the leaps and bounds in this trade has been enormous. It's crazy to see, and I'm happy to be a part of it. Sean, thanks for coming on and talking about the Freeze Master product that you have coming on. If anybody's looking for more information, where do they look?
Yeah, www.freezemaster.com, and that site's live today, October 1st. So have a look, and people can track the continual, the finishing up of the product, of the final stages of development, and can get delivery dates and shipment dates on the product on that site. It's as you said, and as I'm very fortunate to be a part of this industry. My Twitter handle is husband, father, and fire safety enthusiast, and it's great. It's an amazing time, as you said, to be in fire and life safety.
Husband, father, and what was it? And fire safety enthusiast?
Fire life safety enthusiast.
That's a good one. So you've got the website, you've launched the website there, freezemaster.com, which is being launched today, which is October 1st. If anybody, what's the social media for Lubrizol? Does Lubrizol have social media? Where are you guys available?
Yeah, we're everywhere. You can find us. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find Lubrizol on LinkedIn, Blazemaster on LinkedIn. There's Freezemaster will be up on LinkedIn. Everybody's, all of our products on the fire protection side are up and available for people to track. We're always posting information about installations with our products via social media. Anybody who wants to reach out and connect with me, we're connected on LinkedIn. I'm sure you've seen all the blog posts that I pump out through LinkedIn.
Absolutely.
There's a ton of information coming out, and people can reach out to me directly or hit Blazemaster or Lubrizol sites.
Awesome, Sean. I've been trying to get you on the podcast for months now. I'm glad I could finally get you on. Thanks for coming on and talking about this new product.
That's awesome, Chris. Thanks so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with me.
No problem at all. Thanks a lot.
Okay, take care.